Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly Stevens, and this is Carly Stevens Books for all things writing, publishing, and indie author life. So today I wanted to do something a little bit unusual for this channel, at least. I might do more videos like this. If you enjoy this kind of analysis, then please let me know. I am a teacher and an author, so I have this tendency and ability from all the classes that I've taught and taken to analyze things pretty closely. So I wanted to look at the first page of Fourth Wing. I know there are probably lots and lots of videos about the beginning of Fourth Wing out there, but I'm just gonna throw my hat in the ring. I just finished it. Yes, I know I was late to the game, but let me give you a little bit of context here. Number one, I'm a mood reader, so, I heard from everyone that it was good, that I would love it, all of that, but I just wasn't really in the mood to read it. And then secondly, the hype was so hypey that I was almost afraid I felt all this weird pressure to read it, and I'm like, I don't want this weird pressure. I want to just come at it with my own opinions and not feel like I have to see it a particular way or think something. So some of it was just my own issue. And then thirdly, this is a place where I try to be, as open and honest as I can be. So I'm an indie author myself. I've written fantasy, and Rebecca Yarros actually lives in town. I live in the same town as her. I've never met her. I plan to meet her eventually, but like I know where she lives. I know kind of where she shops, and I don't say that to be a weird stalker. I say that to explain that there's something about the success that Rebecca Yarros has had where I'm simultaneously really proud of her, and I'm like, you go, you get it. That's awesome. And it turned out I loved the book. Like, I see why it's popular. But on the other hand, there's part of me that is just really jealous of the success that she's had, because she is so close to me, both some of what I write and, just geographically. It seems like one of those things that could happen to people here now, and it wasn't me. So there are all these weird mental blocks. So I've been talking for way too long about this, kind of as a preface, but I wanted you to see where I'm coming from and why this video is coming out now. I'm in the middle of Iron Flame, but I'm not too far into it. It's a big chunky book, so I should finish it in the next couple weeks. One last thing before I dive into this. I like this channel to stay about like PG. Yes, I do have like steamy romance authors on and things like that, but usually I don't, curse, or we don't really get into really explicit stuff, explicitly at least. And there is an F-bomb on this first page, so if that bothers you or something, then you don't need to watch this. If it doesn't bother you, then great. But just since my channel is what it is, I wanted to give a disclaimer just in case. Okay, so here are a bunch of things that Rebecca Yarros does really, really well on her first page. All right, so here it is. I have a picture of it so that we can all be looking at the same thing. You're not just hearing my voice. So it starts off with this couple of lines from the Dragon Rider's Codex. A dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead. What this is doing is increasing the intrigue of what's about to happen. We have dragon riders, yes. We know this is going to be super intense. And we also have a Dragon Rider's Codex, so we know that there's going to be a certain level of world building that perhaps goes beyond the kind of soft world building that you get with some fantasy books, and there's no like right level of world building, but we get a sense that this one is going to dig a little bit deeper than some other books that maybe we've read into that world building, because here we have this very particular codex. All right, chapter 1. Conscription Day is always the deadliest. Maybe that's why the sunrise is especially beautiful this morning, because I know it might be my last. Okay, once again, very successful and in kind of obvious and non-obvious ways. So we have a hook. Conscription day is always the deadliest. So we're put right into the middle of things on this potentially deadly day, conscription day. Maybe that's why the sunrise is especially beautiful this morning. The first thing we get to know about our protagonist, Violet, is that she tends to look for the positive, look for opportunities, look for things like that, even in the face of deadly challenges, which is going to turn out to be true about her throughout the rest of this. It's not like she's cheery all the time, because she's not, but she isn't somebody who just sits in grief or trouble. She's somebody who tries to find the silver lining or something. So there's that. Another just technical thing that is very small but also effective in these first two sentences is that they're different lengths. This is something that I see with newer writers, and even sometimes with my own stuff. I'm not saying I'm above this, but often it's easy to have medium-sized sentences just all in a row, like a little parade where they have like one main clause and one subordinate clause, and it just keeps going that same way. That can get really monotonous sounding. This is a bit more musical because we have a short sentence that grips us and takes us in, and then the next sentence is a little bit longer once we know that we're interested because of the first sentence. I know that's kind of a lot for the first just couple lines, but I'm trying to give you, whatever insight I have, and hopefully it's helpful to somebody out there. Okay, second paragraph. I tighten the straps of my heavy canvas rucksack and trudge up the wide staircase of the stone fortress I call home. My chest heaves with exertion, my lungs burning by the time I reach the stone corridor leading to General Sorrengail's office. This is what 6 months of intense physical training has given me, the ability to barely climb 6 flights of stairs with a 30-pound pack. I am so effed. Okay, so several things that this is doing. We have this voice that is coming out even more clearly than it does in the first couple lines, and it's an informal voice. It's a very modern voice. It's one that occasionally swears. I've mentioned on this channel that something good to do in the first chapter is if you're going to have something like language or violence or sex, I say those so perkily, but if you're going to include, content, stuff that would make something a PG-13 rating or an R rating, you don't need to just dump all of that into the first chapter. That would be a bit much, but you should give a sense that these things exist in the world so that people who do not want to consume those elements in their books have a chance to get out while they can. And this is obviously we have a very engaging voice, an engaging protagonist. We also have an F-bomb on the first page, so it's kind of this flag going, okay, is everybody good with this? And then you can continue. Okay. As far as just what's being said here, we find out that Violet is weaker than perhaps a normal person would be. She has weak joints. She has actually the same condition that Rebecca Yarros has, and so she's able to speak very knowledgeably about this condition, and I love the way she handles it in this story. Yes, Violet has physical limitations that her other potential dragon riders do not, but she finds ways to overcome those. She is intelligent, she's trained in a different way, which we get into later on in the page. But the ability to barely climb 6 flights of stairs with a 30-pound pack. What we learn here is that, yes, we're clearly in some kind of military or military style situation, which is clear from everything in the description and all that. But we really get it here with the heavy pack. She's trudging up these stairs. We also get these just red flags right away that if conscription day is always the deadliest, if this is a very dangerous thing that she's going into, and all this training has only gotten her this far, then oh no, she has problems. Right at the beginning of this chapter, we have layers and layers of problems. It's not just one thing that's gone wrong. We have conscription day. That is a deadly day that might be her last. She's unable to climb 6 flights of stairs with a 30-pound pack, without getting extremely winded, and very soon she just kind of almost falls forward. The weight is too much. So things are working against her. So that is what's set up just in the first few lines here. Excuse me. Just a couple more particular things. We get some very nice active verbs. So kind of macro level, we have what's being said about her. Micro level, as far as the style goes, we have active verbs instead of kind of slower or typical ones. We have tighten, trudge, heaves. My lungs are burning by the time I reach. There's just something kind of athletic about the prose here at the beginning. The thousands of 20-year-olds waiting outside the gate to enter their chosen quadrant for service are the smartest and strongest in Navarre. Hundreds of them have been preparing for the Riders' Quadrant, the chance to become one of the elite since birth. I've had exactly 6 months. So one of the things that I think might be a little bit heavy-handed in the first couple chapters of Fourth Wing is the world building. Here it's not bad. This is stuff that Violet would reasonably be thinking about. Look at all these people who have been preparing their entire lives. Look at me. I have not had the same amount of time or training. I am in more danger than these people. But once you get to the parapet, for example, which I think is chapter 2, it's right at the beginning, the recitation of all of those facts about Navarre, again, it makes sense with her character, but I thought that was something Rebecca Yarros could have kind of fed in a little bit in smaller chunks, because I really didn't process the information that was given to me as it was being recited. Here, though, it's not too bad. It's just we're wondering about the Riders' Quadrant already, and so we're given a little bit more about that. The expressionless guards lining the wide hallway on the top of the landing avoid my eyes as I pass, but that's nothing new. Besides, being ignored is the best possible scenario for me. Almost with every sentence, there are questions coming up. Who is General Sorengale? What is conscription day? What does it entail? Why is it the deadliest? Why has she only had 6 months to train as opposed to her fellow contenders for this position who have had their whole lives? And why is being ignored the best possible scenario for her? So we have problems layered, we have questions layered, we have a few just very simple stylistic things that are working well, and we get a sense of the world right away too. We get the militaristic feeling to it in a few different ways. But we only have one character so far. We've heard of maybe one more, but we get to know Violet on the first page, and that's pretty much it. Bisgayeth War College isn't known for being kind to, well, anyone, even those of us whose mothers are in command. Okay, so now we get one of the questions partially answered, that General Sorengale is Violet's mother, and yet she's calling her General Sorengale instead of mother, so we get the sense that they're not very close. So we have a lot being implied just on this first page that sets up this greater understanding of what's to come. She's trusting the reader here with world building, with relationships, with some of these different things, even though we're being told a little bit, a few facts here and there. Okay, that is some stuff about the first chapter. Now, if you are able to do this, then awesome. You have some mad skills. That does not guarantee that you're going to get published by a traditional publisher. It doesn't guarantee that if you independently publish it, that your book will take off. There's a pretty aggressive campaign of ARC copies and just the right people on TikTok really running with their love of this book. It is incredibly atypical what has happened with the popularity of Fourth Wing. But again, I see why, and that's just the first page. It took me a while to stop analyzing and just start enjoying the book, because there are a lot of places where she makes a lot of really smart decisions in terms of the characters and the pacing and the twists and some things like that. So yeah, that is a look into why the first page of Fourth Wing is so effective. A lot of things going on there. If you are writing fantasy yourself, get a lot of feedback on your first page, your first chapter. It really is what's going to draw in new readers or readers who have maybe read some of your other books, but now you want to draw them into a new one. Yeah, get lots of advice on that first bit, whether you're, again, independently going to independently publish or go for like a hybrid trad situation. So there you go. I'm letting my teacher show, but yeah, Fourth Wing, Rebecca Yarros, you're doing a good job, obviously, and I hope you can keep it up with this series and have people enjoy it as much as they've enjoyed Fourth Wing. All right, make sure to subscribe to Carly Stevens Books for more writing, publishing, and indie author life. And again, let me know if you want me to do more analysis style videos, because I know they can be helpful, but they're not everybody's cup of tea. So put your thoughts on that in the comments below, and I'll see you next week. Bye.